one quick story. A man called me last year, and he said, "You the president of the Mississippi Hunting Dog Association?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he started telling me what county he was from in Mississippi, and he said, "I've had enough of these dogs." And I just try to gather information by listening to them talk. And I said, "Sir, how much land you own?" He said, "I got 400 acres." I said, "Well, it sounds like you got cattle." He said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "These dogs run across my field through cattle." I said, "Well, who's the hunting club around you?" And he said, "Well, I'm butt up to a national forest on two sides of my 400 acres." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "So it's the same people?" He said, "Yes, same people over and over, over and over." I said, "It's they running your cows?" "Well, they run through my cows." I said, "Well, they running deer?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "So I'm just gonna start shooting all the dogs when they cross my fields." I said, "Well, sir," I said, I got some cattle too." And I said, "Price of cows is extremely high." And I said, "Have you ever went and talked to these guys?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Why don't you just go talk to them?" I said, "They probably some pretty good guys." I said, "And they ever shot across your field?" And he goes, "Come think of it, no." And I said, "So it sounds like they're respecting you pretty good. If you just go talk to them," I said, "because you don't want to just go out and start shooting dogs." And I said, "And then bullets go flying, and all of a sudden, you go to missing a cow here or there." I said, "That's not a very good trade." And I said, "I would just, if you could, go talk to him." He called me back. He said, "Boy, them is some good guys." And he said, "We get along good." And he said, "I don't have any problem with them." I said, "Well, see," I said, uh, "sometimes that's all it takes is just go have a talk with them." And but yeah, I
And
get some.
if you're dealing with rational, reasonable people, usually a conversation will take care of it. I
Yeah,
mean, usually it
yeah,
will. The
that's right.
You mentioned that you got some cattle. We got cows. We got pigs. We got turkeys. We got all kinds of livestock.
Yeah,
We understand the livestock issue. And people
that's
say, "Oh,
right.
I can shoot a dog to defend my livestock." Well, we got two dog pens. One dog pen's at the pig farm, and the other dog pen is literally inside the cow pasture.
That's right.
So there's a barn inside the cow pasture, got the dog pens on it, and that's where some of the dogs are. They're inside the cow pasture. So how
Yeah,
in the world do we possibly have a cow that's alive, right?
yep.
Or pig? And something else. My uncle that ran the family farm for years, he passed away probably about 10 years ago. But he told me, he said, "I get along with my neighbors. I do everything I can to get along with my neighbors." He said, "I understand that a $5 box, a 22 long rifle, can put me out of business."
Yeah,
He said, "One $5 box will put me out of business." He said, "I try and get along with my neighbor. If I have a problem, I talk to them." He said, "If a neighbor's dog, we've never had it happen." He said, "But if a neighbor's dog were to come over here and mess with one of my cows or one of my calves or something, I'd go talk to the neighbor about it. We'd
yeah.
talk about how expensive that cow was, but it wouldn't be a standing over the corpse of his dog where I shot his dog." He said, "Because a $5 box, a 22 long rifle, will put me out of business."
That's,
He had a lot of smarts there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And that's what I try to explain to people. And true story, really what got me into doing the fox hunting, uh, I guess that was in the early 90s.